Most video games, like fiction in general, require what we call a willful suspension of disbelief. In other words, we know in our rational minds that what we're seeing isn't real, but we accept it because it's realistic enough or believable or true to life in some way, or we just want to enjoy it, right? But the problem is, if you stretch that idea too far and you start to lose your audience, you might be at risk here in terms of us staying with you. What I want to do here is talk about how the sheer amount of stuff in Fallout 4 starts to stretch that for me, and it makes it a little less immersive and problematic. Now, let me just say, it's a fantastic game. I've been playing it for well over a year. I'm level 87. I'm not hating on the game. Anyway, I want to show you a few things here and then kind of break it down for you. This is my storage of stuff. I've got about 9 or 10 pieces of power armor, and I hardly wear any of them. So you're seeing some of my inventory here, and I'll highlight some things from that as I go along. But let me break this down into 3 categories: combat, aid, and junk. For combat, I mean weapons, ammo, and armor. So here are some observations about combat first. There's a ridiculous amount of legendary weapons in this game. I'm playing in hard mode, and I considered going up to very hard, but I just feel like there's too much, and some of it, most of it is really esoteric, and you have to play a certain way in order to get anything out of it. So like if you're always fighting super mutants, you would try this armor out and you'd be fine, but it just seems like not worth it to me. Some of them obviously have more universal appeal, something like the Deliverer or Kellogg's weapon or something. That's fine, but so many of them I'll never ever use. Now the issue of ammo, I've got, if you noticed, I had over 10,000 rounds of 45 and 38. That's to me insane that there's 10,000 rounds in the game even. I have over 1,000 rounds of 10mm and 2mm electro cartridges, and I have over 3,550 caliber. I've never had to purchase ammo in this game, unlike in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, where I did. I went back to my level 30 maxed out Fallout 3 game, and I found that for no gun did I have more than 200 rounds in that game, completing that game. Obviously, if you're too skimpy on ammo, you're going to make the game less fun. I get that, but how much is too much, right? Now, I didn't realize it, but I'm actually level 3 Scrounger, so some of this I think is my own fault, but still, I definitely wouldn't have wasted the perks on that had I known I was going to get so much goddamn ammo. It comes down to. It was always such a cool part of Fallout 3 for me, where you had to decide which guns to use where, and you had to be really tactical about it, and you had to conserve ammo, and I kind of missed that in Fallout 4. One of the things that having a lot of stuff is actually really cool for is how much there's like these makeshift armors and outfits out there, and different factions use different things, and I think that's actually more immersive to see how people have used what's available to them. And so I actually like that. That's one of the positives of having more stuff. Now, on to aid. With aid, my biggest question is, why is there so much pre-war food left in this world? I don't think it would ever have lasted this long. If there's any kind of healthful benefits to it, it would have been long gone, right? Think of a movie or a book like The Road, where they're surviving and it's just a few years after the big breakdown. There's so little food left and people are fighting for whatever they can, and I think that's more realistic, and it would be better to see that here. It's like, why would you consume something for 5 health or 10 health and get 5 rads when you can cook food and get the rads away? So with the advent of cooking, it seems ridiculous to me to have any pre-war food. People would have eaten it. It would have been gone. Let's just get rid of it. In the game, to give you some perspective, I've eaten 230 food, and again, that's cooked food. I've cooked 912 things, so I haven't even used a third of that at level 87. I'm at level 87 in this game. I've used 334 stim packs in that time as well. Compared to my Fallout 3 game, it was level 30, as I said. I was maxed out. I used 664 stim packs. Now, the issue of chems is an interesting one, because in this case, I think Fallout 4 does kind of build into the story why there are still so many chems. So there's factions creating chems, there's chem stations, there's places like hallucinogen. So I still think I actually think that's more realistic, that there would still be so many chems. Still, maybe cut it down a little bit. I've used only 75 chems. I've used 92 radaways and 66 radexes at this point in the game. Compare that to Fallout 3, I used 70 chems, and I was addicted 7 times. I've never been addicted once in Fallout 4. Let's move on to junk. With junk, again, for perspective's sake, I'll tell you, I've collected just under 23,000 pieces of junk. Now, a while ago, I'd probably say 7-8 months ago, I stopped collecting anything that had less than 2 uses, unless there's something really rare or really always useful, like adhesive or aluminum. Okay, so I still managed to get 23,000 pieces of junk. With crafting, obviously crafting has been a great addition to the game, but here's the thing about crafting. If you were frozen for 200 years and then you come out and you know how to find uses for all this stuff, don't you think other people would have found uses for some of this stuff too? It seems so ridiculous. So how many tin cans and toothpaste and all sorts of other stuff would still be available? I remember in Fallout 3 coming out of the vault and grabbing the bent tin cans and saying, of course there'll be a use for this, and then disappointedly there was not. So I do like that there's a use for it, but I think they have to rein in the sheer amount of it because it's just crazy. Now, with that, there has been some interesting uses, again, because you see that people have rigged up shotguns, or they've made makeshift buildings or defenses or electricity, and so we do have evidence that other people are using junk to their advantage, which is, again, another reason why there probably wouldn't be so much of it laying around for us after 210 years. So let me say some general kind of consequences or conclusions about this stuff. For me, barter is basically useless. I've bought very little things in this game. I've only bought specialized things like ballistic weave or adhesive, and I don't have to make those tough decisions about what to spend my money on, which I did in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. I don't have to make the tough decisions about what to bring with me or what to leave behind because I just have so much of it, it doesn't matter. And I know I'm going to find stuff along the way. So even if I left a whole bunch of ammo at home, I could find it pretty easily as I went around. So again, pre-war food and drink to me is basically useless at this point. I feel like just get rid of it. It would be mostly gone. Cooking is better. It makes more sense. It's more immersive. Unless you're going to make something that's like really rare and really cool. I don't know. Sleep has become virtually unnecessary outside of survival mode. I've only slept for 139 hours at level 87. And that's 324 days passed in game. Right? So think about that. 139 hours in 324 days. Okay. In Fallout 3, it was always interesting to kind of find, it was sort of a challenge within a mission especially, where you would try to find a bed or a sleeping bag and a safe place to kind of lay low, and especially in the middle of a quest or something. I missed that. I don't really feel like I have to do that anymore because I have so much to fall back on. Now, I also think this is more general, but sometimes I feel like if there's so much stuff, it takes away a little bit of the incentive for you to go and explore new places and see what you might find because you have so much of it already. So here's some things I think about as sort of a way to conclude that could justify so much stuff. Bring back weapon repairs. I love weapon repairs. It made you have to be more wise with your uses of stuff. And in this case, maybe you make it that you can repair weapons with some of the junk. It might justify how much crap we have out there, right? I would eliminate the respawn of junk and ammo, or at least slow it way down. I understand that there's an issue of replayability here and you want to be able to have stuff come back, but boy, I feel like I've gone 3 or 4 times to places and gotten all this stuff, and I think that's a little nuts. I would eliminate all or most pre-war food. If it's at all viable, it's going to be gone. So let's just get rid of it. Maybe you make Nuka-Colas or Vims that are really, really rare, and that's kind of cool. As far as legendary weapons go, I would say make fewer of them, make them with more universal appeal, and I think it's just going to make it more worthwhile. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Am I way off base here? Am I onto something here? Can we see some of these revisions in Fallout 5? And stay tuned for more videos. Check out my other videos, like and subscribe, and I hope to do more of these on a regular basis. Thanks, bye.